Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. WildMax1 bringing another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be doing another champion guide, this time on a past fusion, one of the best supports and cleansers in the entire game, and one of my favorite champions as well, and that is the Magic Affinity support from the Knights Revenant faction, Wight Queen Ankora. Today I'll be breaking down her kit, showing you different ways to build her effectively, and finally showcasing her in Doom Tower, Hydra Clan Boss, and in the arena. With that, let's get into it. So Ankora was released in February of 2024 alongside her counterpart Wight King Narcissus at a time when Taras and Marichka were running rampant through the arena. While Ankora and Narcissus are considered a good counter duo to Taras and Marichka, that is not the only place where Ankora shines. She's an amazing cleanser and reviver that's good in both arena and in PvE. So with that, let's take a look at her kit and see what makes her so special. So looking first at her A1 Necrobolt. Has a 30% chance, booking up to 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally's skill by 2 turns. Alone, that is excellent on an A1. That just ramps your team, bringing back potentially some of your most powerful abilities. Now, it does have a modifier that if Narcissus is on the same team, it will prioritize him first. And if the cooldown of a skill is fully reset, will also heal that champion by 10% of Ankora's max HP. So a heal conditional and reset on skills on an A1, extremely powerful. On her A2, Shield of Imaria. This is on a 4-turn, booking down to a 3-turn cooldown. Removes all debuffs from all allies, places a shield equal to 25% of Ankora's max HP. So we already have 2 max HP scaling abilities on her, so you know you want to be building her with a lot of HP. If Narcissus is on the same team, however, then this gets an additional strengthen buff on all allies. Really powerful. 8-2, even without that strengthen, as it also fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. We're getting to her A3 and to her Revive. Rise, my love. 5-turn booking down to a 3-turn cooldown. So revives a dead ally with 50% HP and 75% turn meter, and resets the cooldown of all of their skills. So between the A1 and the A3, this really helps ramp teams, and especially is very powerful in the arena, where your champions need to come back and take a turn and use their strongest abilities in order to swing momentum. And speaking of swinging momentum, if you happen to have Narcissus with her and she revives him, he's coming back instead of 50 with 75 HP and 100% turn meter instead. After successfully reviving a target, she will decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 10%. And if Narcissus was the target, then that'll be 20% instead, and it cannot be resisted. So the one caution I will give about this decreased turn meter is in a meta where Marius is pretty much everywhere, this can trigger his A1, so it is something to be careful with in the arena. But other than that, it's one of the best single target revives in the entire game. Looking now at her passive and arriving at my favorite part of her kit, Queen's Consort. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, but when she's fully booked, and she should be fully booked, this becomes fully passive with no cooldown. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, or petrification, hard crowd control debuff on an ally with the highest crit damage, transfers those debuffs to Ankora instead. The only thing missing from this, notably, is Sheep Polymorph. So in the arena, that is something to be considered. But other than that, incredible just from this alone. Just making sure that your highest crit damage champion, the one that's going to carry you through the match, ideally the one that's going to be your main damage dealer, is going to be essentially immune to hard crowd control, while Ankora is going to be on the same battlefield. So incredibly powerful. Fills the turn meter of Ankora by 50% if this champion is forced to miss a turn due to one of those debuffs. So if she were to, for example, absorb a provoke or absorb a true fear or something like that, misses a turn, she will immediately spike in her turn meter, getting ready for the next ability. At the start of her turn, she also has a chance to remove any of those hard crowd controls if Wight King Narcissus is on the same team. This is one of the most useful passives for supporting your damage dealer specifically in the entire game. Amazing passive. And finally, also extremely useful, just having 19% speed in all battles. Incredibly good on her kit. Looking now at her stats. Almost 21k HP, really good. 1,000 attack, not really necessary, but you know, if you decide to build her with attack, she actually has decent multipliers on her A1. So if you want to build a sneaky attack Ankora, by all means. And 1,200 defense. Between HP and defense, very, very good, very solid for a legendary support. 111 speed, excellent. really, really quick is Ankora. So when you're going to be building her, two different approaches you can take. One is you just stack as much HP and as much defense and as much speed as possible. So you just make her as survivable and quick as possible. That way she's going to be, speed especially is important. She's going to be rotating through more A1s. The more A1s she does, the more chances she has to lower ally cooldown of their skills. Extremely valuable, ramping up your damage through her A1s even. And then the other approach you can take is to add resistance as a stat for your Ankora. And this would be more relevant in content where you're anticipating large amounts of crowd control going out on your team, and then her needing to remain steadfast, absorbing it, resisting it, and then using her cleanse to get your team back into the game. Now, she already brings that for your highest crit damage champion in her passive. That's obviously for hard crowd control only. So if there's like a lot of poisons going out or something like that, you obviously want that cleanse to be ready as well. But really, the only thing that's preventing her from being able to cleanse is hard crowd control. So if you are going to be building her with resistance, make sure it's high enough for whatever content you're going to be running. If you're going to be doing it in arena, you need to get pretty high depending on how high of a tier you're running in, especially in like live arena or something like that. But for PvE encounters, that obviously becomes significantly lower and is still extremely valuable. So with that, let's take a look at builds and sets for Ankora. So when deciding how to build your Ankora, it's all going to be dependent on what content you're going to be pursuing. If you're going to be going into the arena, having 4-piece stone skin or 1-turn stone skin is going to be extremely helpful for you, just because it not only has a really good synergy with her Queen's Consort passive, but there's going to be a ton of champs out there that can land crowd control or kill Ankora before her first turn, or potentially push back her turn meter. So having 1-turn stone skin at least on her is going to be really, really good. 2-turn stone skin on Ankora is also fantastic, again, because of that synergy with her passive. So if you're going to be under stone skin, you're going to be redirecting any hard crowd control to your highest crit damage champion, to Ankora. But if Ankora's under stone skin, she's receiving none of those. So even though her passive does have some built-in recovery mechanic, if she were to miss a turn because of hard crowd control, with stone skin, you don't even have to worry about that. You're just making sure if she's wearing stone skin, neither her nor your highest crit damage champion in the arena are going to be receiving any hard crowd control. So if you do decide to go for 2-turn stone skin, know that you have, if not the best, then one of the best sets for her for arena. If you can only put her in 1-turn stone skin, however, or if you want to pair it up with another good set, then a couple of options you have are to go for like supersonic, which helps because it gives her turn meter whenever the enemy receives buffs, so she could potentially cut in on them even if they're faster. You can put her in impulse, which is great for raw stats as well as getting skill cooldowns. You can put her in reflex. You can put her in relentless. All of those are going to just be helping her cycle through turns, getting her abilities back faster, and also helping her get off more A1s to potentially reset the abilities on your champions. And speaking of ally abilities off cooldown, one set where Ankora gets a surprising amount of value out of is Retaliation. Again, her A1 helping get ally abilities off cooldown faster and potentially proccing that heal as well. The only heal in her kit. So this is also something that has a set that has quite a bit of value for Ankora. And so speaking of that healing, Ankora doesn't actually have any heals for herself in her kit. She does have a shield, but if you do want to bring her and make sure that she survives content, especially if it's something you're progressing through, difficult for your teams, then putting her in regeneration could be really helpful as well. And if you don't have regeneration, then of course a set functioning similarly to that is the Guardian set, which you can craft yourself. And the last set that I'll mention for her, obviously not the best user of it, so if you have other more buff-heavy champions, it might be better on them, but 9-piece protection is obviously going to still be great on Ankora, even for just the stats alone. 32% speed, HP, resistance, all great on Ankora. And then if she does have Narcissus on the same team, at least she is going to be buffing your team damage by 10% with those 2 buffs. So still solid even with a 1-buff champion. So now just to sum that up, if you're going into the arena, 2-turn stone skin can't serve you wrong. One of the best. After that, 1-turn stone skin along with one of the other good 4-piece sets or a couple of the 2-piece sets. So like your impulses or your relentless or your supersonics. For PvE, pretty wide set that you can go with. Anything that boosts her raw stats, obviously going to be great. And then you can put her in things like relentless or even anything that works in the arena is probably going to be great. Also for PvE, assuming you just build her with the right stats, which is fast and tanky, and if you want to, high resist as well. With that, let's take a look at how I have my Ankora built. So I've built Ankora a lot of different ways over the time that I've had her. Initially, I tried to build her high resistance, and I found that to be very effective. However, I ended up moving some of that resistance gear over to another champion. So then I put Ankora just fast and survivable as possible, and I found that with Stone Skin, she's still able to function just as well. So I decided to keep this, and I've been running it ever since. So we have 1-turn Stone Skin and 4-piece Relentless. And this is what I use for Arena and PvE as well. For my pieces, on my ring, HP with HP Ascension. On my amulet, HP. My banner is defense with HP. My gloves are HP with HP Ascension. HP with HP again on my chest. And speed with speed on the boots. For total stats on my Ankora, we are looking at 97k HP, 3.7k defense, 301 speed. And the rest I don't care about in this case. When I was running her with high resistance, I had her over 600, which was okay at the time for the tier that I was in. I was in low gold and live arena. Nowadays, I'm a little higher, so like I would say that I would probably need to be getting closer to 700 or 800 resistance. But even then, there's a lot of champions out there who can cover that easily with accuracy, especially with increased accuracy buffs. So it all depends on what kind of content you're going to be running. But as long as you have the good speed, defense, and high HP, your Ankora is going to be excellent for you. Looking at relics for my Ankora, I have Demonic Effigy. In the compositions where I am using her, she is usually the lone reviver, so I want to make sure that as soon as the champion dies, she is immediately there ready to go to pick them up. Also great flat stats on this. If, however, you have any pick of whatever relic that you possibly want, then good options for you are going to be, high-end good options for you are going to be Valcardiac Heart, for example. If you are building your high resistance, this is an excellent one, making your team tankier with that magma shield. Hallowed Hilt, obviously really good. Anything that gives you speed and HP is really good. Not as much value because she only has that conditional heal on her A1, but for the raw stats alone, I would consider this. If you're bringing your Ankora into Arena, however, Wand of Submission, this is my #1 most wanted relic right now on the account. That's including mythicals, and simply because of that ability to reflect any of those crowd control abilities back to the opposing team. So, so good. But if we're looking at PvE relics and you just want to know anything that'd be good on her, budget relic, really solid on her would be Journal of Necrotos. She does have turn meter boost, so this is really nice. Again, I think Demonic Effigy is one of the best value ones on her just because of boosting her turn meter whenever an ally dies. So this makes sure that she's there on the spot when you need it. While Cardiac Heart, obviously, if you have, or Hallowed Hilt are still really great. If you have, if price is no object for you. Another one that just came out more recently, Perched Shadow, HP, defense, speed, all stats that she really likes, and has a chance for an extra turn when using default skill with at least one skill on cooldown. So again, her default skill, if she's using that a bunch, that's great news for you because that's a chance to reset ally skills. And now you also have another chance to get an ability to get her A2 or A3 off cooldown faster. So one of the best budget relics for a lot of supports and a lot of champs in the game. For my Ankora, for my blessing, I decided to go with Intimidating Presence on one of my teams where I use her. She's the highest awakened champion, so having the best possible speed aura is important, so I decided to go with Intimidating Presence. If, however, you already have Intimidating Presence user, other good options, if you are going for the Arena and you have her 6-star awakened, obviously Polymorph is going to be one of the strongest. Intimidating Presence, another good choice that you can go with. Life Harvest works too. Posing champions going down, giving you potential turn meter fill upon their revive and destroying their max HP. Very powerful in the Arena. And then Temporal Chains combos really nicely with her reduction in turn meter, as this also gives you turn meter reduction for the enemy and also decreases their speed for every buff that they have. Also works out really nicely if you are using good synergy for a supersonic set. And finally, we've arrived at the Masteries section. Hey, I don't have to move myself. Nice. Okay, here we go. So since she is a reviver, and that's primarily what I really want her on in my squads, I went down and picked up Timely Intervention as my tier 6 mastery. Then anything that boosts her raw stats, anything that boosts her HP or her shield output specifically is what I've gone for the support tree. And then for the defense tree, I want to make sure, since she is being used in the arena for me, improved parry is really nice to lower that crit damage. Even though she is a good cleanser, I'm only running her in one-turn Stone Skin. She does get CC'd pretty often, so having Wisdom of Battle is helpful for putting up some block debuffs, which is good. And then anytime she's counterattacking, obviously A1 chance to reset ally skill cooldown, and then the other abilities here just making her more tanky. If you want to change up this build for PvE specifically, then if you don't need timely intervention, you can, of course, decide instead of the secondary tree for defense coming down and going and picking up War Master. That is a good option for you to make her deal a little bit of damage in PvE encounters. Or alternatively, if you are using her for the arena, but you're setting her up as a high resist champion and cleanser, then I would drop timely intervention and come down and pick up Unshakable. All right, for our first showcase in today's video, we're going to be going into Doom Tower Hard on the 113th floor. It's the Frost Spider rotation here, so there's a lot of freeze-based champions that are on the floors, making it really difficult and annoying, slowing down your runs because they keep throwing freezes on there, especially all the Torments in the different floors. So we're going to be going in against exactly that kind of floor. We've got Ankora here, who's amazing in Doom Tower for not only her AoE cleanse, for her revive that fully resets the skills, for her reset skills on her A1, and also for her, there we saw Queen's Consort coming into play. That was a freeze coming in, or some kind of a crowd control onto the Cheshire Cat that was then redirected onto Ankora. All right, we're going to continue on. We're going to supercharge our Cheshire Cat here. Freeze. Absorbing the freeze for our Cheshire Cat. There was Ankora, allowing the Cheshire Cat to go in and do damage. All right, we're going to continue here just to see if there's any more instances of that popping. Anytime we see a Queen's Consort pop, there we go. There was another one. So already multiple debuffs blocked for the Cheshire Cat, who is, there we go. There's yet another one. And the Cheshire Cat is just able to continue to do damage, continue to get us through these floors. This is the strength of Ankora. This is that passive with no cooldown. Yet again. That's 3 in a row right there that was just blocked off of our #1 damage dealer in the composition. And another one. This is a perfect showcase of exactly why Ankora is so good when it comes to any kind of hard crowd control wave-based content. And then for the rest of the team, again, if you decided to build your Ankora high resistance, you could easily just be absorbing and then just cleansing the entire team and making sure that your run can just continue unimpeded. For our second showcase of today's video, we're going to be going into Nightmare Hydra, bringing Ankora in to demonstrate how good her passive is against the Head of Torment. Now, unfortunately, Head of Torment's not going to be in the starting rotation, so I'm going to skip a little bit further ahead into the fight until we can get the Head of Torment out to show you Thor hitting it and then not getting any True Fears placed on him. Okay, so here we are further into the fight. The Head of Torment has finally decided to grace us with its presence, and we're going to continue. Teox is our highest crit damage champion, so we're going to watch Teox take a few hits on the Head of Torment and then watch what Ankora can do. So let's continue going here. For now, we just need to get Teox out from under the Perfect Veil, which is part of this composition, because as you can see right now, no fear coming onto him because of that Perfect Veil. So here we go, Teox out from under the veil. So Ankora, she's already had quite a few procs of her Relentless in Hydra, resulting in some good ability cooldown reduction for the team. Okay, here we go. Teox going in for a hit on the Head of Torment. Should be True Fear, but instead it lands right on Ankora and keeps Teox clear and ready to continue damaging in Hydra. This is exactly what you want to see from one of your supports, enabling one of your top damage dealers and helping you get those best scores that you can in Hydra Clan Boss. So Ankora, fantastic for Hydra Clan Boss. And finally, we're at the Arena Showcase. So the team that we've built around Ankora in this case features Cheshire Cat as our primary damage dealer. We have UDK there to keep as much damage off the team as possible. Lydia there to debuff for the cat, and also because of her amazing passive. And finally, Ankora there is our cleanser and our primary reviver. On the opposing team, we have a Gurgo who brings freezes, Lamasa who brings True Fear, Empress that brings True Fear, and a Wukong. Pretty annoying team, especially considering the fact that Cheshire Cat is not under any kind of Stone Skin or block debuffs buff. So we will see how this goes. All right, kicking it off, Gurgo going in. Cheshire Cat killing Gurgo off of a Counterattack. Okay. Let's see what we can still do here. Hopefully they can still try to attempt some true fears here that our Ankora can block. And there we had it. Attempted true fear from the Lamassu. Queen's Consort was able, the passive on Ankora was able to absorb that for the Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat's able to then go and counterattack and kill the opposing Lamassu. So just again showing how excellent that is. There we saw Relentless coming into play on Ankora. She went in with her A1 reset skills on our Cheshire Cat, and then also has another turn to go to hopefully get this true fear off. But as you saw there, again, Queen's Consort coming into play. She missed the turn because of crowd control, and so her turn meters once again boosted by 50% immediately after her turn, which means she's going to be coming back even faster. So again, just more turns on Ankora, making sure your team's revved up. All right, at this point, we've already showcased what Ankora, how well she combos off with a non-stone skin damage dealer in Arena, so let's just move on to the next one. And for the final match in today's showcase, we're going to be once again facing an Armand's, Lydia as well this time, bringing those true fears. So let's go in and see what our Ankora can do to keep our team away from the crowd control and keep our Cheshire Cat doing damage. All right, they're faster, was anticipating that. Stun is blocked by the Queen's Consort passive. Unfortunately, Sheep is the one form of crowd control that we are unable to remove or to redirect using Queen's Consort. So Cheshire Cat is sitting as a farm animal. Hopefully here in a moment, going to be able to break him out. Now the single target fears from Lydia are obviously going to be redirected to the UDK. There we go. Thank you, Wukong, breaking out our Cheshire Cat, which is really nice. Okay, so now we are able to boost up speed, able to put up some good debuffs. Ankora doing a surprising amount of damage with her A1. Resisting the Armand's Sheep, even though I don't have her with that much, built with that much resistance at all. But again, that would be the advantage if you want to build your Ankora as a high resistance support. Really, really good in the arena, especially if you hold on to that cleanse. Make sure that they attempt their AoE crowd controls, and then you just bring your whole team back and win the match. And there you have it, everybody. Wight Queen Ankora, one of the most capable cleansers and revivers in both Arena and PvE content in the entire game. If you found today's guide helpful, please consider liking and subscribing for more content in the future. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any other champions, guides, or showcases that you'd like to see on the channel. Thank you for watching today's video. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.